Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for today's virtual program, From Data to Impact, AI Tips for Nonprofits with Mike Slaughter. I am Brittany Spillman, and I have the privilege of serving as the Director of the Carey Center's Community and Collegiate Programs. Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors who make programs like this possible. Our presenting sponsor for today is the Walker Area Community Foundation, a nonprofit grant-making organization that works every day to build permanent resources, spark meaningful conversations, inspire action, and empower partners to make a difference. We are so grateful for our community and collegiate program sponsors, Auburn University Outreach, Auburn University Outreach Office of Public Service, the Drummond Thorne Stukes Fund for Excellence, and a community service grant made possible by State Representative Joe Lovern. It is my pleasure to introduce today's speaker. With over 15 years in nonprofit management and tech, Mike has helped hundreds of organizations raise over $1 billion for their missions through digital philanthropy. In his role as Director of Key Accounts at Dataro, Mike partners with the world's largest and most impactful organizations to teach them how to forge more authentic donor relationships through the use of their data. Please join me in welcoming Mike Slaughter.
Thank you so much, Brittany, and thank you everybody for being here. This should be a lot of fun. As you can see, we've got a little bit of a theme for this session. I'm a big fan of Indiana Jones. I hope you are too. And so we decided to wrap this session in kind of like an Indiana Jones patina, if you will. And we'll keep on coming back to that. But to highlight a little bit about what we're going to cover, who I am, who Dataro is, and how we work with nonprofits. Basically, how I got here. I'll give you the short version of the story. So, I started out my career as a program director and then as a fundraiser. I was a gift officer, traveling across the country in people's living rooms, having those, as my mentor would say, hand-on-knee moments with donors, where you make your case, you lean across the living room, and you make your case for support. And time again, I ran into the challenges that many of you probably run into on a daily basis, being asked to do more with less, having to struggle to get the resources you really needed in order to really do your job effectively. And heck, I was lucky. I worked for an organization that overwhelmingly supported me. It was really, really good. But just by the nature of our work in fundraising, it's a difficult job. Asking people for support is one of the most difficult things that anybody can do. So thank you for being out there in the field, doing your good work, making an impact in the community. Um, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're going to cover today. So, first of all, there's a ton of AI tools out there. Sometimes it can be confusing. Sometimes it can feel overwhelming. You don't even know where to start or what to implement first. We're going to cover that. I'm going to give you some actionable things that you can do to kind of kick off your AI journey and do it in a way that you feel safe, that you feel as though you're doing it in a responsible way. I'll even give you a framework, a policy framework that you can rip and replace. You can rip it and just simply put your name on it. It's been vetted by attorneys, and it's used across the industry from organizations that literally have annual revenues of $1 billion or more, all the way down to hyper local nonprofits. And you'll be able to take that. It'll come in the follow-up resources. Uh, we will talk about things you can do to connect more authentically with your donors using AI. We'll talk about ways in which you can connect with people on social media using AI, ways to look more professional using AI tools that are out there, and also just to personalize things a little bit more so that your voice really carries further in the room. You have more impact with your donors, and you're able to extend your mission further than you've ever been able to extend it before. Another housekeeping note. I am one of those people. You might be the same type of person where if you're presenting on Zoom and chat is blowing up, I cannot walk and chew gum at the same time. it's a personal flaw. And so if I try to read chat while we're going, then we'll get sidetracked really quickly. But I do encourage you to put everything in chat, any random thought that you have, any question you might have. And at the very end, I will surf through chat and we'll answer questions rapid fire. And if we've got time, we'll even switch out windows and we can play around with some of the tools that we've talked about. Does that sound good for everybody? Sweet. Then let's rock and roll. I will be your guide on this Indiana Jones style journey, and we will kick things off. So, first of all, we've talked a little bit about the fundraiser's dilemma, right? You can raise your hand if this resonates, and I'm sure it resonates with most of you, that you're a development director or you are involved in some way, shape, or form with fundraising for your organization. Uh, you feel great about your teammates. You feel great about the mission, and you you feel like you've got all of the human resources you need in order to do your job, but you're always strapped for time and for budget. Anytime you ask for more budget for something, it's always a scrappy fight. Trying to get something done is sometimes really, really difficult. I remember when I was on the road and managing a team of folks who were out there in the field. I remember one particular board meeting where I was asking for iPads. iPads. This maybe dates me because iPads were very new at that point. It was maybe around 2010 or so. Uh, but I was asking for iPads for our entire field staff. And that in and of itself was a huge uphill battle, entire board meeting discussing it. We finally got the iPads, and the iPads made our job significantly easier. We were able to tell stories in a much more robust way. But it kind of frames the problem that we're asked to do more with less all the time. This is the nature of nonprofit fundraising. The good news is that technology continues to speed up and innovation continues to speed up literally by the day. Adoption of AI across all industries has ramped up faster than any type of industrial uptake of any technology in the history of mankind. I think back to 2022, even just a couple years ago. ChatGPT was an exotic tool. It was magic. And think about the first time you ever saw something emerge from ChatGPT. If you're anything like me, you probably thought, this is sorcery. This is crazy, right? That something can be so intuitive, you can literally just talk to it and it will spit out some about how I started using some of the tools that are out there. And I use them out of necessity. I'm a parent. I have a 6-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old daughter. We love having story time before bedtime every night. We read books. And so I haven't offloaded everything to ChatGPT, but we've incorporated ChatGPT because how magical is it to be able to speak to something and build your own adventure? That's what we do. So we have our story time, we read a book, and then it is ChatGPT story time. I turn on voice mode. I've given my GPT a fancy Australian accent. Dataro is an Australian company, so it's kind of in our DNA. My daughters talk about what type of story they want to build before bedtime. ChatGPT builds it in an instant, and we have a 2 to 3 minute story that wraps in all of the elements that they want to send them off to bed. So maybe it's Taylor Swift or snowmen or rainbows or unicorns or things like that. ChatGPT does a great job of building all of those elements into a story and delivering the story to my daughters. It's super fun. And so that is how I encourage all of you to start to play with AI. Make it fun. Engage with it with curiosity. I will come clean here. Everything in this presentation that we're looking at today was made using AI. You'll see a little watermark in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. This is made with Gamma, a tool that actually creates slide decks with just prompting. I am not a designer. I'm a fundraiser by trade. I'm also a technologist. I've been in nonprofit fundraising and technology for the better part of 15 years now, and I'm terrible with coming up with slides. I'm lucky that I've got teammates who can come up with really cool slides that are on brand for us as Dataro. But faced with coming up with slides on my own, heck, that's a huge challenge. As Indiana Jones would say, snakes, why'd it have to be snakes, right? So I literally just put in a prompt to Gamma. Gamma came up with a 10 slide deck for us. It was completely on point. It follows the outline that I gave it, and it weaved in fun little Indiana Jones elements as well. So the takeaway here, be daring, be curious, go out there and play with the tools that we're going to talk about. Nothing's going to bite you. Nothing is going to cause a lawsuit. There are plenty of other things out there in the world that are higher risk, higher leverage, lawsuit worthy. This is not one of them. Now, there are some guardrails that we're going to talk about a little later. We'll talk through that as well. But by and large, you don't need to worry about falling off the train tracks. You're on the right path here. So the quest begins. Let's talk about some of the things that you might be up against. You may have tried to use AI. In fact, you've probably used it without other people in the organization knowing, just quickly chat GPTing something. People do that every single day. You may be using ChatGPT the same way that you use Google. Lots of people do that too, right? Quick web search. What is this weird spider in my backyard? Is it poisonous? What do you think I should make for dinner? Can you give me 5 recipes? All of those are perfectly valid use cases. But the true magic here happens when you start taking some of those outputs and you stack them within other AI tools, right? So let's think about this critically here. There aren't really rules here to how you can use those AI outputs. Maybe to, take the dinner recipe conversation one step further. You ask for dinner ideas with an Italian theme because you and your partner love Italian food. ChatGPT comes up with 3 versions of a meal, and then you simply take that, you put it into another app. The other app does something crazy with that, and then you put that into another app, and it does something even crazier. You can transform your outputs by using multiple apps and stacking them on top of each other. Uh, the biggest predictor of AI failure, and you might have seen this actually come out within the past month. It was a study by MIT that 95% of generative AI implementations fail. First of all, there's some problems with that study. The study was taken in a snapshot of people at a conference. I don't know any other scientific study that is done at a conference, and it's like raise your hand if this has succeeded or failed. But the market responded. Like the day after that study came out, the stock market tanked. AI stocks were impacted like crazy. But the reason why these projects typically fail is because there is one champion who is waving the AI banner saying this will be the thing that solves all of our problems, and nobody else on the team is really brought into the process or is a champion. They're just there to kind of sit and absorb and see how the process is going to change. If you've ever tried to change any process in your organization, you know how difficult that can be. I once worked with an organization, a very large organization, uh, to kind of renovate their online donation page. And we were doing something relatively simple. We were including a PayPal payment option on their donation page. Not just a PayPal button, but they had a regular donation page. We were simply making PayPal an option on their donation page. Do you know how long it took us to get there and to actually get it implemented? It took us 18 months. The reason it took us 18 months was because it would require a secondary reconciliation process with their finance team. And their finance team did not want to change processes, even though the PayPal payment button would end up raising literally hundreds of thousands more dollars by way of increased conversion rates on their donation page. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. We fall into this trap all the time, though, as nonprofits, that we let the tail wag the dog a little bit. Ultimately, we should be doing things that help advance the mission. We should be doing things that help us connect more with donors and help them feel the impact of their gift. And if that requires us to change up process a little bit, we should be flexible to be able to do it. Some of these things that we're going to talk about are going to require a little bit of a change. Hopefully, it's a good change. Hopefully, it's the type of change that actually cuts through some of your process and connects you from A to Z rather than having to go through the entire alphabet. So, what are some of these tools that we're talking about? Well, we've got some things to help us find the AI treasure. First of all, the lantern. Everybody needs a lantern on their journey. In this case, there's a free tool out there. We've created it for the nonprofit world at Dataro. It's called Prospect AI. You can actually go onto our website right now and create an account. There's no credit card or contract or anything required at all. It's a prospect research tool. Our CEO came to me about 6 months ago and he said, Mike, what do you know about prospect research? What do you know about major gift fundraising? I said, well, what do you want to know? I mean, we could take days talking about it. There's lots that goes into it, from doing due diligence work to understanding somebody's connections, understanding their affinity, their capacity for giving. There's all types of things that a prospect researcher digs into. And our theory was that a lot of this that is publicly available information, this work can be streamlined. The idea that you can go out there and essentially assemble a dossier on somebody and then hand that dossier over to a really talented prospect researcher to provide the human context. That's something that we should all be doing. We've got the tools to be able to do this. So we built an agentic AI tool. Essentially, we've assembled a team of AI agents. And if you don't know what AI agents are, don't freak out. Don't go running for the hills. Essentially, it's a bunch of individual robots, virtual robots that are tasked with one thing to go out there and do. And then they come back together as a team. You can think of them as robots assembling around a big round table. I think we've even built in an agent who's like a Debbie Downer agent, who pokes holes in the theories and arguments of all of the other agents. We've all sat through meetings with somebody like that, right? So we've assembled this team of agents to go out there and find everything publicly available on a prospect on the internet. They come back, they sort through all of the things that are relevant, all of the things that are irrelevant, parse them out, and then assemble this 1 to 2 page dossier. Incredibly helpful. But we've all heard of AI hallucinations too. How do we get past that? Wouldn't it be terrible if we pull together a prospect research report and the number one thing that we see on there is a hallucination? Well, we've built in a degree of confidence rating, like a thermometer, on every single piece of material that we've pulled in to these reports. So the human being who's reviewing these reports can go in and see, oh, this is pretty low confidence. I wonder why. Let's click into the source and inspect it. Links out and citations to everything that we found. And ultimately, you've got something that typically reduces the prospect research process from between 1 and 3 hours, an exhaustive search down to something like 30 to 45 seconds. And then you can take that prospect report, give it to your gift officers, and be confident that they're walking into a meeting with the confidence they need in order to make the ask. This is common sense stuff. Robots can do things much more efficiently than humans can in some cases, but they should never, ever replace human beings. They should always be there as a helpful teammate to help human beings be the best humans they can be, because humans are the most valuable members of your team. And that should never change, especially in nonprofit fundraising, right? Because fundraising is relationship work, it's human work. That is the essence of what we do. That being said, we need every leg up that we can get. So the next tool that I'm going to talk about is the scribe. This is the easy stuff, like the really easy stuff. ChatGPT, Google Flash 2.5. Oh my goodness. If you haven't used Google Flash, the Nano Banana image generator that's just come out, I encourage you to stop what you're doing. Well, no, don't stop because I don't want you to leave this session. Right after this session, go and use Nano Banana. It's super easy. Just go to Gemini. You can even just Google it. Google Gemini. It's free to use for a certain number of searches. And then within Gemini, you can search from the little drop down for image generator. That is how you get to Google Flash 2.5 Nano Banana, as they call it. Put in something, anything. It can be anything. Don't worry about screwing it up. Uh, I played around with this because and the way that I got used to this is my wife ended up kind of stumbling into a free ticket to a Backstreet Boys concert at the Sphere. You've probably heard of the epic concerts that they've been having at the Sphere. We had a last minute trip to Vegas that emerged over the course of the week because she had this amazing ticket. Um, and I thought it would be funny to surprise her with a picture of me, but turned into a Backstreet Boy. I literally just uploaded a picture of me with my daughter brushing her teeth in the background, just like me standing in front of a mirror, and asked it to turn me into a Backstreet Boy from the cover of the Millennium album. And all of a sudden, it came up with this incredible thing. It's on my LinkedIn if you want to go and check it out. You can hold it against me and use it as blackmail later on in life if you want. But it's amazing what it can do. Think about all of the applications for this within your organization, though, right? You could you could put in a prompt and come up with an image very, very quickly that encapsulates the work that you do. Have you ever been at a loss for evocative imagery and just wanted something, some B-roll, something to start with that you could include on either mailers out to donors or a board report? Now, it's important to always disclose, hey, like this was created with AI, but these can be really powerful storytelling devices. These can be things that help people understand the true nature of your work and what it is you do. You don't need to be hamstrung by budget anymore. Simply put in a prompt, tell it what you want it to create, and it will create it. It's wild. And if it comes out with something that just isn't quite right, it's okay. Just go back to the drawing board and put in a new prompt, or just go in and revise it, right? So maybe the first prompt that I put in that turn Mike into a Backstreet Boy. Maybe it comes out with me with like long flowing hair, and I really don't want that. Okay, uh, please make Mike's hair, a little shorter. We need this to be tight and up so it looks like you can, land an airplane on it. Great, it'll do it. It'll change right there in front of your face, literally 15 seconds, and it will customize the photo for you. Please go and use it. It's wild. ChatGPT, easy, easy use for creating donor journeys. If you don't know where to start with a donor journey, think about creating your audience. We'll get into that here in a second. The type of audience that you're looking to communicate with, and then ask it for an in-depth donor journey, maybe 3 to 5 touch points. Perhaps you're looking to reach out to your younger donors. You want your younger donors to be more engaged with the mission. You're worried that your older donors are writing their final checks and you don't know where that next generation is going to come in. Great. Anybody who has given a gift who we know is under the age of 40, let's say, we want to communicate directly to them. We want a 3-step donor journey that includes an email, a text message, maybe, and a handwritten note. And we want ChatGPT to come up with unique language that speaks to that demographic of donors and thanks them for their gift, their very first gift, encourages them to consider joining your recurring donor society, and then follows up with a note of gratitude once again. This is easy. ChatGPT can come up with it. It can be quite customized. ChatGPT is also a great adjudicator of in-office conflict, I've found. If you have an argument about particular verbiage in something, just put in the two versions, say, hey, what is going to connect best with a younger demographic or an older demographic or a demographic that might be prone to an upgrade to a mid-level gift, whatever your audience is. ChatGPT can come up with that journey. So, speaking of tools that can help you define your audiences, this is a particular challenge for most organizations. Um, think to yourself, have you ever been at a spot where you feel like you're just hitting everybody with the same message? You're unable to segment in a really valuable way. Or maybe if you do segment, you're segmenting your donor base via traditional RFM, recency, frequency, monetary value. This is how organizations have been segmenting their donor bases for the past 100 years. And it's not rocket science. You look at somebody's last gift, you look at how often they give, you look at the size of their gifts, whether they're going up or down, and then you make a judgment call on how you should be communicating with them. Well, there's a new way of doing this, and it's using machine learning. This is what our company does, and I promise you, I'm not going to turn this into an advertisement for Dataro, but it's worthwhile noting what's out there. Uh, Using machine learning, we can look at a donor's every action that a donor has taken with your organization, from like opening up an email to attending an event to making a gift, responding to a particular appeal. We can look at all of those and compare them against a global data set of hundreds of millions of donor records that have been anonymized. And then we can predict the best next move for every single donor. So we can tell with a pretty high degree of accuracy that Mike has a 73% chance of becoming a recurring donor in the next 30 days if you simply invite him to join the Recurring Donor Society. This is the type of predictive modeling that every single organization can use because we're modeling off of a global data set. You don't need to have an extraordinary amount of data. We can compare your donor records to ones that we've seen previously. And maybe Donna, who you only have a few touch points with, maybe Donna seems like a mystery, but Donna looks a whole heck of a lot like Becky, who lives in Auckland, New Zealand, and has gone through the exact same donor journey with another organization and has actually just recently upgraded to a mid-level gift. We can apply these predictions directly to an organization's CRM, and they refresh on a weekly basis. This is the type of predictive modeling that will be the future. Every organization will have something like this in the next 5 years. I guarantee it, whether it's through our company or some other type of apparatus that is created. It's about reaching out to people at their particular moment of generosity and doing it in a mindful way. That way we get away from kind of a calendar-based fundraising model into something that is much more responsive and proactive for people. We're addressing people when they want to be addressed, not because it just happens to be the spring appeal or the fall appeal or the Christmas appeal or something like that. We're reaching out to people when we know that they're most likely to give. So go in, jump in, play around with it. It's a very, very cool tool. Uh, Another one that is pure magic, the translator. Everybody knows that Indiana Jones has Sala by his side, right? You can think of Notebook LM as your translator. Have you ever run into a document or a board report that is so arcane and so complex that you get maybe one or two pages into it and you go, "Oh my God, is this going to be the rest of my day? Like, do I really have to get through all of this?" Some people really love that. They love the detail. I sure don't. I don't have the patience for it. I am a relationships person. I'm a fundraiser at heart. The thing that wakes me up in the morning and that really drives me are relationships and conversations with people that will drive things forward. And when I get buried deep in documents, I end up losing my particular magic, right? So if that's you, I encourage you to jump in and try Notebook LM. It's part of the Google set of tools. And let me tell you, it's absolutely magic. It's wild. As part of our follow-up in our resource cache of treasures that I'll send you, is actually a Notebook LM recap of everything that we talked about today, condensed into like a 15-minute podcast style episode with two people talking back and forth about all of the ways that you can use AI in a nonprofit context. Um, it created that maybe over the course of 2 to 3 minutes. I uploaded the slide deck, I uploaded the notes from this presentation and the outline, and within a few minutes, it created a podcast, a 15-minute podcast that hit on all of the highlights that we're hitting on today, and did it in a really engaging way. I use those podcasts not just to condense a lot of information into one spot, but to better understand the point that somebody's trying to make. I once had, not once, like literally last week, had a partner of ours send us a very complex, very, very thorough proposal for like a joint engagement with a client. It was 20 pages. There was no way that I could get through it. I put it into Notebook LM. It condensed it down to a 15-minute little podcast. I asked it for like my key takeaways, and it gave me my key takeaways, and it did it in a way that it seemed to me like I was listening to a helpful podcast. I think they even call it the deep dive. So take it, use it. It's phenomenal. If you want to go a step further, try this. Put something into Notebook LM, have it come up with a mind map because it'll do that too. It'll actually map the concepts within a document and create a mind map for you. Or have it come up with a podcast, or better yet, even like a movie. It'll do that. It'll come up with a 5-minute little trailer movie of all of the stuff that is covered within whatever document you're putting in there. Then take the movie and pull it in to another tool, Opus Clips. We haven't put this on this slide. It's going to be on one of the next slides, but I'm going to tell you this thing is pure magic. Opus Clips takes any type of video content that you've got, whether it is a 10-minute mini documentary, or an interview of several board members or constituents. It can take a clip that's been generated within Notebook LM, any type of video that you've got, and it will slice it up into little bite-sized segments. It will organize the segments by way of predicted virility for social media. So like what will get the biggest response on social media. It'll rank them all, and then it will even apply captions to it. So people don't have to turn on their audio within social media. They can just read the captions. Imagine having that as like essentially your social media creator, your assistant, being able to take videos that you've used maybe at galas or for donors, uh, throwing that in there, and then having it create these little bite-sized things that you can then post on social media to help tell the story for your organization. Again, this is a free tool, and there's not really a risk to using it. Simply upload the video, it'll create these little splices for you, and then you can use them however you want. I think per month you get something like 60 minutes worth of video uh, doctoring, video editing that it will do for you. That's more than enough for most nonprofits that I know. But if you want a paid plan, I think it's like 10 or 15 bucks a month. It's so cheap, and really, really accessible. Go in there and play with it. With all of these tools, go in and play with them. Play with the tools. There is nothing here that particularly costs money. These are free for you to play with. Curiosity is what drives you forward in this regard. It's the thing that will get you proficient with these tools. It's a great starting point, and you won't be breaking any laws or rules by throwing stuff in there. Now, there's one caveat, and we'll get more into this in a sec. Please do be careful with throwing any sensitive personal donor data into something like ChatGPT. These are, trained on all of the information you can find on the internet. So any publicly available data is usually fair game. Think to yourself, if could I Google this particular thing about this person? If I could, throw it into ChatGPT. It's already got it. It's already been trained on that information. But if you've got particularly sensitive donor data, maybe their gift history, for example, be very careful with that. Be sensitive. Only push that into AI-powered tools that have a responsible AI use policy involved with it, or like a privacy protection element, like SOC 2 compliance. There's all types of technical designations you can get into. Um, that would be one particular guardrail. Otherwise, knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. And if you're a parent like I am, use this type of stuff on your kids first. If you're too afraid to use this within your organizations, use this for fun and see what you can come up with, because there's just so much good stuff out there. Now, some results. Uh, how do organizations deploy these things? Well, I'm going to talk about one of our clients because it's really, really fun when you start looking at problems, you apply AI to those problems, and all of a sudden you start seeing these results. Mazon, which is the Jewish response to hunger, they came to us about a year ago. And their particular problem was that they were sending out probably too much direct mail. They were sending out direct mail to everybody in their donor base. Now, we all know what happens to direct mail. And any direct mail that you get, unless it's an organization that is near and dear to your heart, it probably finds its way from the mailbox directly into the garbage can pretty quickly. I work only with nonprofits. I love all of my clients. Full disclosure, a lot of that just goes straight into the trash. They shouldn't be sending me direct mail. I can't remember a direct mail piece that I've ever actually responded to. That's just not the type of donor that I am. I'm a digital first donor. Wouldn't it be helpful to know that this certain group of your donors will never ever respond to a direct mail piece, and instead you should only ever send them other types of communication. Maybe it's a text message, maybe it's an email, maybe it's a phone call. It's anything else besides direct mail because there is a distinct cost to that. Usually it's around 70 cents to a dollar per piece if you're lucky. Sometimes it's more than that. Um, you're throwing a lot of money down the drain if you're mailing everybody in your donor file. So this was true with Mazone. Mazone came to us. They said, we reckon that we're sending way too much direct mail. We're wondering if you could help us understand who's going to reply to the direct mail pieces, who's not, help us get more efficient with our list. So they trimmed down their list. They actually sent to, it was something like 20% fewer people. Because they sent to 20% fewer people, they actually saw a 23% spike in revenue from that appeal. They raised more money by sending to fewer people. They saved money on the direct mail send. They raised more money. The average gift size went up. And it's because they were able to really curate that direct mail piece to the particular type of person that they were sending to. They were able to speak more directly to them. So now they're rolling this out across all of their programs so that they're much more efficient at being able to communicate with people in the manner in which they want to be communicated. It's magic. Actually, it's not magic. It's data. It's data. Data makes it look like magic. But being able to see these patterns extrapolated across a huge data set is something that no human being would be able to do. Before I took the job at Dataro, I was a key account manager at Classy, which became GoFundMe Pro. I was working with our top 15 or 20 clients globally. And before taking the Dataro job, I asked one of my clients, a very large organization, if they had ever deployed any of this type of thing internally. And he said, well, Mike, it's funny that you mentioned that. I hired 4 college interns last summer to scrape through our database and to find kind of diamonds in the rough, to find patterns and recognize like who might be ripe for an upgrade or who we should exclude from our direct mail list. That is certifiably crazy. And I never said that to my client. He's actually a very good friend too. I see him on a regular basis. He's on my avocado list. I grow avocados in my yard and I send him avocados all the time. Um, I didn't call him crazy, but I said, man, there's a better way. Let's not hire human beings to do work that should be done by computer algorithms. Let's free up human beings to actually go in there and forge real human connections, not look for patterns across thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of data points. You can do that right now. There's nothing stopping you. Another instance, an international aid organization, they actually deal with blindness in Australia through the course of an entire year deploying this predictive technology. They saw an $831,000 campaign boost just by identifying people who were diamonds in the rough, people who were they weren't going to ask for a particular gift because none of the signs really lined up to the human eye. But because we were able to identify them with AI, they reached out at the right time via the correct channel, and they were able to raise $831,000 more year over year. That's real impact. That's the type of thing that gets people excited. It certainly got their board members excited, right? We're in a day and age where these types of things are absolutely possible. And the beautiful thing is that it's making human beings actually more human. So, so things that you should try. We talked about a few of these. We'll go over them once again. Draft your next donor email in ChatGPT. Don't just hit send after you do it. Don't hit send before you actually look at it, please. If you want to be better at prompting, I know I get this question all the time, like how do I prompt? What am I missing? The biggest mistake that people make in prompting ChatGPT is they ask for something without any type of context. So they'll say like, "Hey, look at look at this email, make it better." What does that mean? What does that mean? Make it better. ChatGPT will try. It will always try. It will give you garbage if you just say make it better. If I say, "Hey, ChatGPT, make me a LinkedIn post about online fundraising," it'll come up with something, and it will look maybe kind of interesting. It will definitely come off as AI slop, though. It won't be in my voice. It'll have lots of M dashes. Everybody will see that I'm cutting corners and that I'm using ChatGPT to just throw more garbage out there on the internet. That is not how you use ChatGPT. Instead, give it a role. Say, you are an expert nonprofit copywriter. You are being tasked with reaching out to a very specific segment of donors. And what we want to achieve is more affinity to the organization, a better understanding of their impact, and a call to action to join our recurring donor society. Make it something that is actionable, include the stakes of the gift. So, in other words, how much $20 or $50 actually achieves. Um, Make it customized to my organization. And by the way, here is my organization's last annual report to give you context into what we do, how we do it, the impact that we make. Well, now ChatGPT has a lot of context. Treat it like you would an intern. You're giving ChatGPT all of the tools to understand you better and understand your ask a little bit better. And now it's going to come up with something that is a lot more actionable, just a lot more appropriate, right, for your donors. If you really want to get clever, you can tell it what not to do as well. You can say, please don't include any of those corny M dashes or emojis. We're not trying to, make this some viral post. I really don't want this to look like ChatGPT did it. So please exclude all of those things. And yes, it's okay to talk to it like you're talking to a human being. Don't feel like you have to, um, you know, type in any type of framework. Type as though you're talking to a helpful assistant. Just remember to give the helpful assistant enough context so that they can do the job effectively. Say thank you faster, right? Create personalized thank yous for donors just within the last week. Like, just try this experiment. Within the last week, take a look at anybody who's given a gift, uh, and give some type of context into for like how that gift came in. Maybe this person has been donating for 20 years, or this person, maybe this is their first gift. Then ask ChatGPT to come up with a thank you that is personalized and weaves in something that your organization has achieved, or that has happened within the organization within the past month. Like, we were delighted to see you at the gala last month, or Our most recent beach cleanup was stellar. We hope to see you at the next one. Things like that. ChatGPT can personalize those things. If you're the type of person that struggles with wording on something, or you're writing a bunch of handwritten thank yous and you want each one to feel just not formulaic, this is great. You could actually do this for each and every thank you, come up with something personalized and not feel like a cookie cutter or like an auto pen machine with a human hand. Intelligent ask amounts. This is huge. Absolutely huge. Some of you may be clients of Fundraise Up or GoFundMe Pro. Both are fantastic companies to help nonprofits grow. Uh, Fundraise Up is literally there's no barrier to implementing this. There's no cost upfront. They take a portion of every transaction. GoFundMe Pro, I think, has options like that. There may be like a little upfront investment, but you get like a whole kind of cadre of tools. Both are fantastic. They've woven in AI to predict the most appropriate ask amount on digital donation pages for every single donor encountering them. They do this by weaving in like geographical information, uh, cookies, tracking, where somebody else has been on the internet. It's absolutely brilliant. So imagine every single donor encountering your donation page getting a unique ask amount that's most appropriate to them. This is a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. If you're not using intelligent ask amounts, why not? Go do it. It's literally, there's no financial barrier for you doing this. Go in, implement it today. The teams at Fundraise Up and GoFundMe Pro will help you get started literally within like a day or two. It's so easy. And it's a great way to get more bang for your buck out of your donation pages. Do it. Bring your stories to life. So I mentioned VEO3 and Opus Clip. These two tools are made for each other. VO3 is also a Google tool. It's within Gemini, and you can literally prompt and have it come up with a video for you just based off of the prompt. Put in any prompt you want, and it will create a video. Do yourself a favor and Google examples of videos that have been made via VO3, and your mind will be absolutely blown, shaken, seriously. You can come up with really professionally produced videos over the course of 15, 20 minutes. Now, take that video, drop it into Opus Clip. Now you've got a viral video that has been cut up into little bite-sized sections. You can post all over social media to help extend your mission. Again, this is free. It's free. Requires no budget, requires no like additional buy-in or anything. Just play with it before posting it to your organization's social media pages, or just going rogue with it and and using it in all of your donor communication. Get other people on board, show them what you've created for your fun kind of like side project, and see if it's something that you can weave in. But this is stuff that you can do today. It's super easy and it's very intuitive. You can't screw it up. I mentioned responsible use of AI. There are a few guardrails here that are super important. Transparency. Anything that is just a black box or a tool that says, "Oh yeah, we're going to ingest your donor data and we're going to come up with magic predictions," or things like that. So, ask a lot of questions. You should be able to understand what's going on behind the green curtain, like the Wizard of Oz, right? You should know what companies are doing with your data to get results. So ask for transparency. If a company is ingesting any type of private donor data or proprietary donor data, understand their privacy policies. Understand how that company is keeping your donor data private, how they're not exposing it to the world. There are certainly donor co-ops out there where you sign agreements with a company to share donor data across a group of like-minded nonprofits. That doesn't apply to this. You're agreeing to that. This is specifically AI related. So if there's a predictive analytics tool or anything where they're asking for, a deep insight into your donor data, demand to see their privacy documents, SOC 2 compliance, things like that. And then oversight. You know, the key here, and I've said it before, AI supports human beings, but humans decide. Keep a human in the loop. If you want more on this and you want to hear from other leaders within nonprofit AI, you have hit the jackpot. Your timing is impeccable. So thank you for coming today. The fundraising.ai summit is actually happening next week, Monday and Tuesday. Go to fundraising.ai. You'll get a big pop-up banner to sign up for the summit. It is free. You'll hear from leaders across the industry on best practices, how to leverage AI more, responsible uses of AI, and you'll be able to find that policy document that I'm promising to send to you. So if you don't use the one that I send to you, you'll also be able to find it on fundraising.ai. Fundraising AI is a nonprofit working group of industry leaders who have all come together. Some of us are competitors, but we've all come together to encourage the responsible use of AI within the nonprofit world to help drive mission-driven organizations forward, and help them use the best tools available out there. Take advantage of this opportunity. Free summit. Get everybody involved. And that's all I'll say about that. But connect with me on LinkedIn. If you can't find it, I'll point you in the right direction. Finally, a couple more hero stories. This is being used across the industry. I've got loads more of these. If you want to chat with me, feel free to DM me on LinkedIn. I'll talk with you all day. I'm a real human being here in Escondido, California, again, with daughters and dogs and avocado trees. So please connect with me, spend my time. But Save the Children. Everybody knows Save the Children transformed their mid-value donor engagement with AI insights. They were able to find mid-level donors who might not have really stuck out as mid-level donors. Maybe these are people who have only ever given $100 gifts or $200 gifts. But because we compared it to a global data set, we were able to identify them and really drive their program forward. Amnesty International, this is crazy, a 60% increase in confirmed bequests year over year by finding people who were most likely to make a planned gift and then connecting them with the organization. If you've ever received a planned gift, most people have. Chances are it came by way of a letter from an estate attorney who said, "Hey, by the way, Nancy, who just passed away, she made provisions for you in her trust, and she's wanting to give you a very generous gift." That's wonderful. What if you knew Nancy before she ever made the gift, while she was still alive, and you were able to steward that person and maybe increase the gift, but also increase Nancy's connection with your organization. Give her something really incredible at the end of her life so that she could feel that her gift was really doing all that it could. That's what this type of prediction can actually achieve for people. That's the human element behind AI. And finally, the Edinburgh Dog and Cat Home. I included this because this isn't just for big organizations like Save the Children or Amnesty. It can be used on a hyper local level. They were able to identify 156 monthly donors who then upgraded their gift. They saw a 37% success rate in asking for those upgrades. That's also incredible. 40 new recurring donors converted from a one-time gift just because these people were identified with a high propensity to give. So all of this is actionable stuff that you can take advantage of right now. The magic lies in how you wield it, just like Indiana Jones wielding his whip, right? Use these tools to drive your mission forward. There will be no cookie cutter application of any of these tools. You are the magic behind them. So go in there and play with them. Go in there and think big about some of the problems that you have as an organization or the big frustrations that you have, and then be daring. Use the tools to their full extent. And also don't be afraid to invest a little bit of money if you know that the juice is worth the squeeze, right? Don't let budget be the limiting factor in solving some of the problems that are holding your organization back. If you know that you can raise an extra $100,000, it's probably worth spending maybe $10,000 to raise the extra 100,000. Just make sure you do your homework, go through a really in-depth assessment, get everybody on the train so that you're not just purchasing shelfware that nobody's going to use, uh, and then go out there and achieve daringly. So that's all I've got for you. We have 6 minutes left. And I think we can open it up to questions. Let's see here. I've got one person in the chat, and this is Daleen Carter. Daleen, thank you very much, first of all, for being daring and putting something in the chat. Everybody else is invited to as well. Do any of these have a cloning aspect where they can clone you and you input verbiage for your clone to say for you in the video? I'm so glad you asked this. Okay, so one of my favorite uses of AI is in creating custom GPTs. If you've never done this, you really ought to try it. Go into ChatGPT and on the sidebar, go to GPTs and create your own GPT. You can put in a specific task or whatever you want it to do. Here's how I used it. I have a mentor who has been my mentor ever since I came out of college. He is incredible. Three He's written two books, his third is on the way, that have been New York Times bestsellers. He guides me in everything from conversations with my clients to career progression. He's my most trusted advisor. And I don't get to talk to him all that much anymore because he's a pretty big deal now. He's done some really cool things. So I've taken a couple of his books and I've taken all of my emails with him. I've taken any correspondence that I ever have had with him and I've dumped it into this custom GPT. And I say, I want you to emulate this person, be the clone. Um, I want you to be available to me anytime that I want, whenever I have a question about life or career or business, and respond to me in the way that this individual would respond, knowing everything you know about my interactions with him, and of course, the books that he's written. This thing's magic. It's crazy. I feel like I've got my mentor like sitting on my shoulder like a Jiminy Cricket now. It's incredible. So yeah, you can clone people in essence in ChatGPT, and you can also clone yourself. So create a GPT of yourself, feed it in tons of context, anything that you've ever written, anything that you've created for your organization, and then uh, ask it to respond for you. It will do that. Microsoft Copilot just came out with a tool where it will actually like verbalize script for you. And it'll do it in any type of voice that you want. That's an interesting one. I haven't played around with it much. It came out, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago. But play with that. What system do you recommend for memberships with automations? It's a good question. So memberships would fall more in line with like a CRM. As far as CRMs go, I'm a big fan of Salesforce, of Virtuous. Virtuous is amazing if you haven't explored that yet. Uh, Blackbaud products, people have certain feelings about Blackbaud one way or another, but I've used those in the past too. Uh, um, but as far as like AI tools to use with memberships, I would encourage you to use any of the ones that we've talked about today to communicate with your members, because ultimately, membership is an opt-in. They can be treated just like donors, except for they're also usually receiving a fee for service. So don't think about your members in a different context. These are still supporters of your organization. They love your organization. Um, Treat them like donors, and they will perhaps give you an additional gift. In fact, we see this happening all the time. Let's see. How can we make sure using AI is confidential? Do you recommend paying for any certain platforms so that they are secure? Great question, Hannah. The the security protocols that you should put in place are definitely like the ones that we talked about. Anytime that you are inputting sensitive donor data, make sure that you are working with a platform that is secure. Most of the big ones out there will have those compliances. We certainly do if you choose to engage with us. But for example, a tool like Prospect AI, where you're doing prospect research, there's really no need for any type of security protocols there because, again, it's publicly available information. It's stuff that you would find on the internet anyway. So you don't have to worry about that data, being leaked. It's already out there. It's already out there. So you're just searching for stuff that's already been found. But any proprietary data that you have, make sure that you're dealing with companies that have those compliances. Ask for things like a SOC 2 compliance. That's kind of an industry leading designation on data security. Um, Ask, what their protocol is to keep things in a closed loop network, so they're not sharing it with other clients. Let's see. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thanks, Hannah. Appreciate you. And if anybody else has any other questions, please, I do encourage you, reach out to me on LinkedIn. Um, I love connecting with folks. I'll work with you individually if you've got questions about your organization and your use of AI. I can help guide you towards particular use cases or ways that you might responsibly use it. Also point you to some of our AI tech partners that I feel very strongly about. There's some just incredible tools out there. Golden, for volunteer management, is an incredible one. I mean, the list can go on and on. There's so many really cool things happening out there, and I'm happy to help.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for that inspiring program. Everyone that is joining us today, please keep an eye out for an email from me. It'll have a link to the presentation recording, a quick 3-question survey, and the opportunity to sign up for a Carey Center nonprofit affiliate if you are not already one. Our nonprofit affiliate program now serves over 420 nonprofits across Alabama and beyond, and it is a great way to access educational programs, professional development, and networking opportunities. And membership is completely free. Affiliates are also the first to hear about our upcoming events. We're also excited to share information about the Carey Center Nonprofit Professional Certificate. This is an online non-degree certificate developed in partnership with the Auburn University Office of Professional and Continuing Education and Merit Nonprofit Professional Development. Merit is an anywhere, anytime microlearning platform that helps nonprofit professionals strengthen 6 key areas: leading, learning, resource generating, planning, managing, and overseeing through 28 learning paths. Thank you again for joining us today, and we hope to see you at one of our monthly virtual programs or in person when our nonprofit training series comes to your part of the state. Thank y'all so much.